Up and talk to you, as I said earlier, about the performance contract and do this fairly quickly on a somewhat complex budgetary topic that I think most of you are familiar with. She's going to also tell you that if you've got questions, she's going to be available between now and July 18th. Is that when we're voting?
11.
July 11th.
Okay.
So it's be on your agenda for July 11th, but we've got state requirements to give you 15 years notice. 15 days notice. 15 years is a little long.
So thank you very much. Those of you that have seen this before, you'll be really pleased that this is 5 slides in 5 minutes.
Go.
Huh?
Go.
Yeah, Tommy's gonna count because see, and then he's gonna text Winter and tell him I did. Okay. So, whoa, hi. Okay. So, I haven't seen the new version. Is this an overview? There we go. Okay, thanks. Kim gave me an overview. So the overview is purpose, comparison with FY17, and some takeaways. So the purpose of the performance contract is to establish base funding from the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Services to the Norfolk Community Services Board. It also establishes DBHDS's service, operational, and reporting expectations of us, and establishes the responsibilities of DBHDS to the community services boards. And then there's a third part that establishes the expectations of partnership and collaboration in working together as we serve our consumers. And this is why Kim usually doesn't let me click myself. So now we're caught up again. There is no monetary change. So this performance contract also initiates the contract value for $12,447,841. That's terrible. There were some minor changes in content and expectations. There are significant changes to reporting. There's some changes in assessments that we're having to use, and changes in productivity expectations. Many of these items are in much more detail in the performance contract itself and are following the recommendations of the General Assembly this past year. Some takeaways. The performance contract that you will approve is a base. The state will then send additional performance contract funds for targeted programs. Typically, these are ones that we compete for with other CSBs or partner with them to get it. So they will send the additional performance contract funds for targeted programs. The ones that we know will be permanent supportive housing, crisis intervention team, and PACT. Those all live in SRs, and they come to you separately to approve the receipt of those funds. Their performance contract was posted by us as required for public comment on May 16th and will remain open through June 16th. Any comments will be forwarded to the City Council prior to the voting session. We'll send them to Kim. The NCSB Board of Directors reviewed it on May 24th, had a work session. They will vote to approve on June 28th, and then that allows the freedom for City Council to go before City Council. And we are I think we're still hoping to hit the July 11th session for that. And so you can access the full contract if you have a desire on the Department of Behavioral Health website. Kim is going to drop in your Dropbox the letter from the commissioner that went to the CSBs. It has a live link that will take you directly to the contracts page where you can click on the 3 portions of the contract directly. If you have any questions, City Manager said it's okay for you to email me directly. And so, do you have any questions? No? How'd I do? Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Sarah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well done. Villa Marina, Jared Chalk is going to step up, and it's a project that I think you also are familiar with. It's been in the works for a little while. Has all the approvals it needs. They're going after a particular kind of financing that requires just simply a resolution of support from the City Council, and Jared wants to talk you through what that looks like.
Yeah, so Villa Marina, you guys have already approved it 2 years ago, but we wanted to bring back to you and talk about this financing package. So project overview, a site plan, I'll run through the renderings again, we'll talk about the financing, and then a quick recommendation. The project's being done by Russell Turner, TST Technologies, TST Construction. They're a Norfolk-based business in Central Commerce Park. Great company. What he's doing is 106 units and 13,000 square feet on Shore Drive. Project was previously endorsed by the Civic League. Planning Commission approved it 7-0 in November of 15. Council approved it in December 15, and then it went to ARB in January of 16. Here's a look at the site plan. There's 3 retail buildings up on Shore Drive. Here's the marina, and then the residential building is on the back with the pool. Got a couple pictures. This is when you're approaching the building, looking at the retail spaces off Shore Drive. This is the back, pool, elevated. All the residential units are up above podium parking. So the issue here is it sits just outside the East Ocean View redevelopment area. When you use this VHDA financing and you have a commercial space included with the development and you're outside of that area, it requires a council letter of support. So if it was didn't have the commercial space, they wouldn't need a council letter of support. If they were in the revitalization area, they wouldn't have to have a council letter of support. So they're coming to us asking for additional resolution supporting the project, which allows them to get their financing to complete the development. So what this financing does is 80% of the units are going to be market rate, and then 20% are rented at 80% of the area median income. So 20% of the units have to be rented to a family making less than $58,000 a year.
Is that a family of 4?
I think so. I'll check. But yeah, I think it's a family of 4. In the state, area median income is about 62. So what they're asking for us is at the next council meeting, we support a resolution for the project to be financed through this loan program.
Sure, just a quick question, if you can go back. The blue boundaries, who set that zone?
I think y'all did.
What is it? What did you call it? What is that blue zone?
Revitalization area.
What?
East Ocean View redevelopment and conservation areas. What it
So it's
says.
not based off of the Civic League's boundaries?
Probably not. I think, Bernard, I think this is something that would have been adopted by the housing authority in all likelihood. if not
The
council.
Housing Authority was the initiator, and then the final approval was by this council for this redevelopment
Okay,
area.
you just may want to double check because according to what I know, the redevelopment area should go all the way up to Little Creek Road.
Okay.
Because, and the only reason why I know that is because the old Cheetahs Gentlemen's Club that was next to 7-Eleven over there was purchased with NRHA funds
All right.
as part of the redevelopment conservation area.
We talked to John today and verified. I mean, maybe
Did they change it since then?
I don't know the answer to that. We'll find out for you. But John was at our development action team meeting this morning. And
yeah.
Okay.
I took that image off the Plan Norfolk 2030.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Is this a LIHTC project? No, okay. What's the difference?
It sits just outside of the conservation area, and it's got ground floor retail. So if this project was, say, in downtown, it wouldn't be coming here.
Okay,
It just happens to sit outside the district.
okay.
All right. So it'll be on your agenda Tuesday night. I think fairly straightforward. Then they'll go through their process and hopefully get their financing in place. Bernard, do you want to make any comments about Cindy's presentation?
Sure. You all know Cindy, so I don't have to introduce her. After a recent special exception was revoked and they were delinquent in taxes, there was some concern about holders of special exceptions being delinquent in taxes and not receiving prompt or the same treatment. And so that Cindy put together a group and has a draft of a protocol for collecting, dealing with holders of special exceptions that are delinquent on their food and beverage and sales taxes, those fiduciary taxes. And the protocol that the group has proposed is drafted and before you today, and it ends after a series of steps with a proposed revocation before you. So Cindy will walk you through that, and this is your first cut at it, and you can give us feedback today or later.
Good evening, everyone. Before you is a document which is just a draft at this point, but it lays out a process for meals tax and how that intersects with the special exception process. And there's really 2 kinds of meals tax delinquencies. And by meals tax, we mean food and beverage tax. There's a regular meals tax delinquency and there's an audit meals tax delinquency. And meals taxes are considered fiduciary taxes under Virginia law. But for the regular meals tax delinquency, those taxes are due by the 20th of each month after the establishment operator submits their actual sales receipts. If the meals taxes are not remitted to the city by that due date of the 20th of each month, a 10-day letter is sent by the Commissioner of Revenue, and that's attachment 1, which is in your handout. That 10-day letter requires that the taxes be paid within 10 days, and if they're not, the Commissioner of Revenue has the option of pursuing criminal charges, and that has been their policy to institute criminal summons charges. In addition, if not paid by that 10 days after the letter is sent, the treasurer also has the option of placing a tax lien on the bank account and may also levy on the cash till and fixtures. In addition, if the location holds a special exception, the zoning administrator is notified that the 10-day letter has gone out and the taxes have not been paid, and that generates an inspection by the zoning inspector of that establishment. And you see the copy or a draft of a special exception notice of violation. That's attachment 2 in your handout. The inspection will notify the operator if there's any discrepancies in the operation of the establishment that's not in keeping with the special exception conditions that City Council has set. That special exception notice provides detailed information, and the operator is given a chance to comply. If the operator has not complied with the notice of violation, the city attorney's office then sends out a final letter, which is attachment 3 of your handout, and that final letter advises them that the operator that they have 30 days to correct the violations that are noted in the notice of violation. So there's a process where the operator is given multiple information as to how to comply and to correct this situation. If the meals taxes are still outstanding after 30 days after the final letter, a packet will be prepared and presented to the city manager's office for submittal to City Council to begin the process for a revocation hearing of the special exception. Now, with respect to the audit meals tax delinquencies, and by audit meals tax delinquencies, we mean those businesses where the Commissioner of Revenue has done an audit of the books of the operator, and that's usually generated by filings that are submitted to the ABC board or to the state tax departments that don't jive with the records that have been submitted to the Commissioner of Revenue. If the paperwork is not consistent, an audit list is generated, and that business may end up on the audit list. Those are the situations that are not regular delinquencies on a monthly basis. That audit list is sent to the city attorney's office. The city attorney's office will flag what establishments hold a special exception, and then will notify the zoning administrator to ensure that that information is included both before the Planning Commission and also before City Council if any application is submitted for approval of a new special exception or for an amendment to a special exception. So that information will be included in your packet when you're voting on either recommending or approving a special exception request or amendment. Yes.
We just heard the presentation about the zoning code rewrite and the possibility of moving from special exception to conditional use. Would this just be synonymous?
It would. We would just change the name to conditional use in this process.
In this, I would personally, I like the idea, but I also, and I've talked to Doug about it, like to see us come up, just like we have rules or we have requirements or whatever that people have to abide by in order to get a special exception or a conditional use permit, whatever it ends up being. I would also like for us to work on a set of rules for those conditional use or special exception permits to be revoked. And not only look at the meals tax issue, but also look at the calls for service that they've had at the location, the types of calls for service that they've had at the location. Also, if you've got locations that are next to businesses and you have that are, you know, quiet and peaceful by nature, but you have a boatload of calls for service at that one location, but right next to it is an eating and drinking establishment that, you know, never has a call for service, but the laundromat or grocery store or Starbucks has like 50 calls for service. So I would like to see us not be arbitrary in revocation, but I would like to see us have, you know, these are the rules. This is a requirement for getting your special exception or your conditional use, and this is the establishment that we expect you to maintain. And if you violate any combination, however, you know, number it is, whatever the combination is, or whatever the severity level is, that we are going to bring you back in for a hearing to have you potentially have you either get a warning or have your special exception or conditional use permit revoked, and actually have something in writing so that people understand what is required of them, that they don't just get it forever and ever and ever, amen, and they can just do whatever they want to do.
Well, if I could speak to that, because although that wasn't part of the presentation tonight, I can tell you that the city manager, and we've been working with Deputy City Manager Goldsmith, has established what I would call an entertainment group that is actually meeting with folks that are applying for special exceptions prior to that application going before the Planning Commission and going before City Council. So that will give the opportunity of city staff, and that would include the fire marshal, the police, the zoning administrator, the commissioner of revenue. All those agencies would actually sit down with the operators, the people that are going to be the managers and the operators of the facility, and walk them through all the requirements. And zoning has also established a checklist of conditions and requirements, and those folks have to sign that sheet so that there's no misunderstanding, or so that everybody is aware exactly the expectations for the operation of that establishment. So though it's not a part of how we collect delinquent meals taxes, that is proceeding in a parallel fashion under the umbrella of the entertainment group. And that will begin in the month, I believe, in the month of July. That's slated to begin. So
Angela, does that suffice, or would you like us to come back with a proposal like you'd asked for?
I don't think it does. I mean, I appreciate setting out the rules of what is expected, because I think that's very good. But what is expected is one thing, but what will get you terminated is something else. You know, you can bend the rules and bend the rules and bend the rules. And so how many times do you bend the rule before we consider the rule broken? Or what are the infractions? Or either we have this number of infractions for calls for service, or we have this number of infractions within, the area, a radius, or whatever. What is it that if someone comes, if people complain to the council about an establishment, can we go down the list of this is what will get your special exception revoked, and say this business has violated this, and this, and this is grounds for them being revoked. And in addition to what you're giving them as their standard of operating, they also will be given what will get you revoked. You know, it's like if you speed too many times and you're a habitual offender, they're going to take your license. So it's right. The same kind of theory. What makes you a habitual offender of your special exception?
Right. You know, if you're 20 miles over the speed limit, that's reckless.
That's reckless.
Well, this
Right.
will take a little bit of work, so
Yeah.
we'll draft something and come back?
That same
later?
kind of thing is what I'm looking for, so that it's very clear, it's not ambiguous, it's not, all of a sudden we've got all these things. There's no warning process, there's nothing. That's what I would like to,
I think I know
Yeah.
what you want.
that's what I'd like
I
to see.
don't know what the draft will propose, but
Okay. But some options. I mean, I think it would be worth council looking at what are options, or even going so far, which is something that we could do in committee, but it's something that staff could look at. What do other cities do that have special exceptions or conditional use permits, and what are they using as guides and parameters for revocation? And we could, it's no need to reinvent the wheel if we don't have to, but I think we need a wheel, and I don't think we have
and
one.
we probably have as much experience or more than anybody with the special
Mm-hmm.
exceptions for alcohol, which have been almost the only source of revocation. So drive-in tellers for banks have not been brought back, but we
Right.
can rely upon that. It'll take us a little while, and we'll ask to get back on the agenda for that.
Thank you.
All right.
Yeah.
Mr. Manager. All right.
Thank you.
Mayor, I'm going to ask Jim Reddick to come up and talk about hurricane preparedness as we enter hurricane season.
I have 30 minutes. Is
30
Seconds.
Exactly. That's what I'm used to. Good
At least
evening.
you get to present this time.
Exactly. Yes, sir. So, Mayor, members of council, Mr. Manager, thanks for the opportunity for me to present to you on hurricane season. I just have a couple bullets, and I'll be very brief. The first is the forecast, which means absolutely nothing to us because there's no correlation as far as where those storms might make landfall and at what intensity. So while this is a popular topic, it just takes one storm to be a bad season. So into the crux of it. First, and I didn't mention it as a bullet, the appointment of Brock Long, his confirmation hearing is supposed to be tomorrow as the FEMA administrator. So whether that happens or not, Team Norfolk is not without leadership. And to paraphrase Tip O'Neill, former Speaker of the House, all disasters are local. And that's how we address it. We have leadership all throughout this room, this table, the community, the governor, Secretary Moran, Dr. Stern at the state level. We'll get the job done. So we'll work with all of our partners all throughout Team Norfolk to get it done. I will say that as strong as Team Norfolk is, we need more help. And I ask our partners throughout the community, the houses of worship, private sector partners, to work with us and get into the structure that we have to communicate, to share and leverage resources, the talents, resources, and expertise that we have throughout the community. Because while we have a good team now, we can really be great with a lot more participation. Outreach and education. We had a fantastic time with Preparedness Night with the Norfolk Tides. The Tides have been a fantastic partner over the past 5 years. It's been an annual event. And we also had Preparedness Day this past weekend, where we got a lot of folks to discuss their plans for hurricanes evacuation and preparedness. As it pertains to evacuation zones, that's a new project from the state, knowyourzone.org. And it talks about, based on the angle of approach of the storm and whether it's parallel to the coast or if a northwesterly approach, we're going to call for either evacuation of A, B, C, or D. What I'll say for here in Norfolk is that will be the warning order. Those folks in whatever category we say should be on the ready, but we will still tactically evacuate folks out of the area, and we'll use Norfolk Alert to do that. So one of the biggest messages continues to be to encourage folks to sign up for Norfolk Alert, because that's how we will alert them whether or not they need to evacuate. We continue to do training exercises. We can talk about that another time, but vulnerable populations I did want to mention. In the past, I presented on making sure that our plans are inclusive of individuals with various disabilities, making sure that our plans aren't just for those who are the able-bodied. But there's also another vulnerable population, which, again, council priority is those who are experiencing poverty or at the edge of poverty. And so working with the Senior Services Center, working with Norfolk Schools, their nutrition director, working with Salvation Army and the food bank, really identifying ways that we can, during a known event, a storm coming our way, how we can identify those folks who are reliant on school breakfast, lunch, and dinners, home-delivered meals, and how we can get them the sustenance they need before the storm, or certainly if it's an extended event, how we can get them those resources afterwards. So there's too many examples of them being a forgotten group. and we're determined to not allow that to happen here. There's things that we can do now in planning and relationship building to mitigate any type of disaster that doesn't necessarily have to occur. So with that, I know if I'm within my 5 minutes, I'll take any questions that you might have.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Andrea.
Norfolk Alert? Is that what
Yes,
it's called?
Norfolk Alert.
Have we done any public outreach campaign on that outside of the generally before a storm comes, we get people to sign up, et cetera?
I think we could do more. And we had thought about even doing a test of the system, actual notification of the test of annually, just letting folks know that we're going to try to ping every phone that we can.
And do we know how many devices or numbers are signed up in Norfolk Alert now?
It's still under 1,000. I mean, for a community as large as we are,
I think that's a real low-hanging fruit opportunity to increase awareness and maybe have a campaign and try and get, listen up. I'll put my super board against your super board. I don't know. We have a competition here.
Yeah, but you know what, I think we
Sign up.
lost a lot of people when we transferred. Remember we transferred systems? We had far more people, and then we changed the system, and the information didn't port over from the old system to the new system.
People
And
may
so
not
I
even
think
know
they're not, yep, that's exactly right. There are a lot of people who don't even know that they're
How did they
not
find out?
on there.
we'll keep getting the word out. I mean, we put it online, we make videos for it, we talk about it at civic leagues and houses of worship.
I mean, it's something you could just do quickly where your cell phone.
Oh, sure,
right?
yeah, you can text 888-777 and you'll be in.
And you text your zip code.
Yes,
Okay.
Yep.
888-777.
that's it.
What was that number again?
888-777.
And what do you text?
Zip code.
Okay.
Or you can go to norfolk.gov/emergency, and you can do it online there. Or for those who don't rely on technology, you can simply call the Norfolk Cares Center.
Jim, why does it ask you to confirm that you receive the alerts?
Because it'll tell us how effective the message might have been.
Oh.
And the other thing is, once you acknowledge the receipt, it won't try to call you anymore. So it may have your text, your cell, your email, and all those things. But as soon as you acknowledge, it'll stop trying to contact those other people.
Unless there's a new message.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
that makes sense.
Okay, Mr. Manager.
All right, Mayor, we're good. We're going to hold the the Norfolk Interagency Consortium for next week.
I was just confirming that everybody understands.
In lieu of Terry Whibley not being here, I know she's going to ask when we're going to do board appointments.
Alan
So-
and I are working on bringing that very soon.
Okay. And also just, when we have meetings like this, I thought one of the reasons why we scheduled these day meetings was due to council concerns. And so we just need to make sure on future agendas that we,
No, we have it. We have about 10 minutes.
It's just never on our agenda.
Yeah, so we have 10 minutes.
Okay.
So I know Mr. Riddick wanted to start
Yeah.
off, so yeah, we're good. We have
Yeah,
10 minutes.
for those of you who didn't know, I was running for Commonwealth Attorney.
Oh.
And I don't know how in the world this guy named Batliner has included me in a mailer. You know, he started off by using our facilities to send out robocalls. And we never addressed that as a council. And now he's included me in his flyer. And I probably could do just as well as a Commonwealth Attorney as he. And it just really annoys me that this guy would be so, I guess you say, caustic. And that's probably the most reasonable word I could use. I could use a lot of other words. But, so I am running for Commonwealth Attorney, you know, so you can see this flyer right here. But this guy's bad news. And I'm wondering, Bernard, just like we had, is there anything that a Commonwealth Attorney could do that would make us liable? And you don't have to answer that question now. But I'm a concern. This guy is using buzzwords instead of, you know, all. He uses a word like us, which makes me think he's a Donald Trumpite, and that's a buzzword, you know. And so it just bothers me that we have a guy like that, and anybody can run for something, but this guy's bad news. Batliner is what I'm talking about. That's all I have.
Yeah, I know that Thelma did the presentation a few weeks ago about the roads and all the projects that are going on. I have a lot of concerns about the deterioration of our roads. It's happening a lot faster than we're meeting the needs of resurfacing. And a woman just emailed me about Little Creek Road, and I know that there's some cement underneath Little Creek Road which causes that, but there's buckling that's happening along that, and we're not getting to it fast enough to patch it up. We are getting to some roads. Part of Cromwell that was in bad shape was just redone, and I realize that we have a schedule, but if we're not budgeting enough money to address the road repairs fast enough, then we need to know that. And if it was state funding that was reduced, which I think was part of the problem, and we have to backfill it, which we're used to doing, we need to know that. But our roads are bad. And when Pete Gardner is really good at responding back and telling me the schedule, but then I find out that it's not until 2019 that a road's not going to be addressed. And when you go, and I realize a road doesn't have to be black like this to be a good road. I understand that. I'm not saying that all the roads have to look this way. But when there's major, they call it alligator cracking happening, those become potholes. And then the places that do have potholes, it's bad, Doug. It's getting really bad. And I know we've been hit hard with snow and ice, and that's probably what's caused this. But if we're not getting an honest presentation on what our real needs are with this, we just need to know how bad it really is, because we're going to start hearing it. And if I hit another pothole, I try to avoid them, but they're everywhere. And I understand we've got a lot of construction going on, and that hurts too, the roads. But it's some roads that were resurfaced within the last 5 years, which, they're major roads, and they generally are in bad shape, 2 or 3 years after it. And I know Mr. Riddick's brought it up, but I don't know if anybody else feels that way.
We'll get you an update.
Does your office compensate drivers who might hit a pothole and if they take a picture of it? Because I have a friend of mine who's lost a whole set of tires at one time or another out near Forest Lawn Cemetery going towards Wood Corner. Is there any compensation?
The city does. This is coming out of your risk management fund when the city is liable. And so if it's a pothole that we know about and we haven't done anything about it, it makes us liable. If it's due to somebody taking a metallic drain cover off and we didn't know about it, then we're not negligent. So I'd say generally the answer is yes, but it depends somewhat on the facts. So we look at the facts of each claim.
Are all of our pothole repairs being done by contractors, or do we have our own in-house crew?
We have a mixture of contract work, contract effort, and also an in-house staff.
Okay. And I love you, Dave. I'm not attacked. I think that there's.
It's not coming across that way. We'll
Right,
get you.
it's
We'll get you a
something-
maintenance
And
sort of
even
explanation of
even
kind of what our
potholes that have been
processes
recently filled are caving in. So I know there's sometimes those are quick patches, but I'm wondering too if the contractor is cutting corners in some places. I could point out 5 different intersections that I know that were recently done that are already caved in, and then we're going back and having to go back over them. But there's right at Ocean View Beach Park, there is a pothole there that's the size. It could take out a big rig. The size, and it's had a cone in it for probably a month, and the cone has been run over and is crushed down in it. And I know that weather, prevents us from getting out and doing this fast, but I don't know if we're able to keep up with the deterioration of the road. I did this on medians, Doug, for like 5 years, and I finally got attention on the medians. So maybe if I do this for 5 years.
We'll take lessons
So,
from you.
So Doug, when you do the list, why don't you include all of the potholes and your recommendation, another column, whether you plan to replace or repair, And so we know exactly what's gonna
So
happen.
we'll get you a summary of what we're doing, what we're spending, how the money flows, where we are. and
What you
then-
need.
What you, and if it's what we need, we'll have that conversation.
Andrea?
And just to confirm, if a citizen wants to report a pothole, they would go through Norfolk Cares. Is there an ability for them to use their mobile device to take a picture and send that in?
James, I'm
Geolocate
gonna
it?
ask you that. Do we have the click and send opportunity?
Yes, we do. Look at it.
They can, okay. And how would they find out? They would just go to, is it just an email to Healthy Neighborhoods at norfolk.gov?
You're very good.
For those who are listening, just communicate that
I
out.
like it, I like it.
Okay.
Andrea, did you have something you wanted to report?
I got a couple things. The first thing is that, in talking to, the Huntersville Task Force, they brought up, and this might be something that actually leads into a HRT issue that I want to bring up as well, but what they were asking for is looking at the bus stop that is on Tidewater Drive right there at the cemetery. It's just a bus stop. There's no shelter, and people are like leaning up against the wall. They're waiting. There's no covering. There's no nothing. And there's a community of people who use, it's not just an open bus shelter with, just out in the middle of nowhere. It's community out there. So how can we get a shelter out there where people can find cover? They won't have to lean up against the wall.
Where is that?
Princess Anne.
Right there at
Tidewater.
Princess Anne and Tidewater Drive.
Hebrew Cemetery.
Yeah, so they don't have to lean up against the wall. They don't have to, be on the cemetery property wall or whatever. They can actually have shelter there. And one of the other places that was suggested was the Golf and Tidewater Drive. Further back, we're not at the current time utilizing that old police station. So maybe a little bit further back off the street, that area could be used as a shelter for bus stop as well, since it's right there. They're right there. And then the other thing is an update on HRT, because I know we had a big, we were mid-year with the shore up. So where are we with?
So couple things. We'll work with HRT in terms of the bus shelters, and I'll get you sort of a summary of what we're putting in place and what they cost and whatnot. We make that decision. At the end of the day, we are HRT, so we'll fund it. In terms of that process, there's sort of parallel happening. You've got the finance, I think it's called the Finance Committee, that's working through the issues with HRT. In parallel, we've got the cities, particularly Virginia Beach, Newport News, and Norfolk, chaired by Thelma Drake, going through a process. And I think you all have seen, we sent a list of questions, and William Harrell's been great, but we sent 3 pages of questions of the things that we wanted to understand and work with them. So that process is very much underway, and we'll bring that back to you when it's done.
Andrea?
Since we're on HRT, one of the things that happened in the last couple of years is Code for America created an app that people could find out real time where the bus schedules are. They did some workarounds with the databases that currently existed, which was great service.
Okay.
But I understand, talking with some of the Code for America folks, that because of a recent technology issue that happened, they shut down all of their databases, and it's no longer accessible.
Okay.
So I think that that's something, if I were a regular user of the buses, I'd like to be able to have those real-time updates. So if we can get that back online sooner.
So it's a Code for America app that gives real-time
Yes, sir.
location of the buses.
Yes, sir.
All right.
So did HRT shut it down, or did the Code for America shut it?
HRT shut down their access to the database.
Was it costing? Was it a cost
No, it's
issue?
all
It
been
was
free to
all free?
HRT.
Huh.
They did it, it's a civic tech project, that they
Okay.
did it volunteer. Code for America is basically like Peace Corps
Okay,
coding technologists.
okay,
So
that's cool, okay.
All right, we'll get an update for you.
that's one of
Okay, go ahead, Andrea.
I just wanted to thank you, Mr. Mayor, for your letter to intent, of intent to sign the Global Compact with mayors on climate change. I think it's exciting to see Norfolk being a leader on this issue, and I'm looking forward to, I don't know what that means for Norfolk yet. I think we're still getting our arms around that, but I think it's very impressive, and I've gotten a lot of incredibly positive feedback from my constituents on this, so thank you.
And also, I owe staff, especially Bernard and Nadia and others, help in the construction of that letter, so I can't take full credit without sharing with our legal team. and staff, clerk's office. It was a team effort, and it was the right thing to do. Okay, Mr. Manager?
Yeah.
All right, that's it? All right, so we're adjourned.